The transport ship landed with a heavy thud on Kalos Station's docking bay. Steam hissed from the engines as they cooled down. Captain Maya Torres watched from the control room window as passengers began to exit. Most were the usual traders and travelers she saw every day. But one figure made her stop and stare. A tall woman walked down the ramp, carrying a large bag and holding the hand of a small child. The woman had pointed ears and silver hair that caught the station's lights. An elf Maya had not seen one of their kind in 7 years. Not since the incident that nobody talked about anymore. The elf woman wore dark clothes and moved like a hunter. A heavy blaster hung at her side. The child looked about 6 years old, with brown hair and curious eyes. Something about the little girl seemed different, but Maya could not figure out what. Commander Torres to security. Maya spoke into her comm. Device. We have an elf on station. Full scan and background check. Security Officer Ben Clark met the elf woman at the customs desk. He tried to look calm, but his hands shook slightly as he reached for his scanner. Name and business on Kalos Station? Lirelai Moonwhisper, the elf said in a clear voice. I need information about someone. Who are you looking for? Ben asked while running his scanner over her bag. The device beeped rapidly when it found the weapons inside. A human named Jake Mitchell, Lirelai said. I know he was here 7 years ago. Ben's face went pale. He had heard that name before in classified briefings. I need to call my supervisor. Dr. Kira Voss was in her lab when the call came through. The blue-skinned Valterian scientist had 4 arms and used all of them while working on her research. She stopped what she was doing when she heard the name Lirelai Moonwhisper. Bring her to meeting room 3, Kira told security. And make sure the child has something to eat. 20 minutes later, Lirelai sat across from Dr. Voss while little Zara played with a holographic puzzle in the corner. The 2 women studied each other carefully. I remember you, Kira said finally. You were the Coalition Peace Ambassador. You worked with the human diplomats during first contact. That was a long time ago, Lirelai replied. Things have changed. Yes, they have. Your people left Coalition space after the Terran incident. Most thought we would never see elves again. Lirelai's jaw tightened. I am not here for politics. I need to find Jake Mitchell. Kira looked at the child playing in the corner. Zara had solved the puzzle faster than most adults could. Now she was making the holographic shapes dance in the air around her. Is she yours? She is my daughter, Lirelai said with pride in her voice. And the father? Lirelai was quiet for a long moment. Jake Mitchell. Dr. Voss felt her heart skip a beat. A half-human, half-elf child was something nobody had ever seen before. She studied Zara more carefully now. The girl had her mother's pointed ears, but they were smaller. Her eyes held an intelligence that seemed beyond her years. Jake Mitchell is dead, Kira said gently. He died on a classified mission 6 years ago. No, Lirelai said firmly. He is alive. I have proof. She pulled a small device from her pocket and placed it on the table. The device projected a holographic message. Jake's face appeared looking tired and older, but very much alive. Lirelai, if you get this message, then the rumors are true. I am alive but trapped. The mission went wrong. We found something out here that changes everything. The Dominion Empire is real, and they are coming. I cannot escape on my own. Find Admiral Greystone. She will know what to do. Tell her the Phoenix Protocol is active. And Lirelai, if you are listening to this, I want you to know that I never stop thinking about you. I hope you found happiness somewhere safe. The message ended, and the room fell silent. Dr. Voss stared at the empty air where Jake's face had been. Where did you get this? A trader brought it to me 3 months ago. He said he bought it from smugglers who had dealings in Dominion space. Glee. Dominion Empire is just a rumor, Kira said, but her voice sounded uncertain. No, it is not. Lirelei stood up. I have spent 7 years in the Outer Rim. I have heard the stories. Ships that disappear. Colonies that go silent. Something dark is growing out there, and they have Jake. Zara looked up from her toys. Mama, why are you sad? Lirelei knelt down beside her daughter. I am not sad, little star. I am just thinking. The child reached out and touched her mother's face. For a moment, Lirelei's tension seemed to melt away. Dr. Voss watched in amazement as a faint glow surrounded both mother and child. She has abilities, Kira whispered. She has many gifts, Lirelei agreed. Human creativity and elven magic. She is something new. Captain Torres entered the room at that moment. She looked at the group with suspicion. Dr. Voss, I need to speak. With you privately. The two women stepped outside while Lirelei stayed with Zara. Torres spoke in a low voice. Intelligence Command wants this elf detained. They think she might be a spy. She is not a spy, Kira said. She is a mother looking for the father of her child. A father who is supposed to be dead. Maya, we both know the official reports about the Outer Rim missions are not complete. If Jake Mitchell is alive, then we need to know what he learned. Out there. Torres looked through the window at Lirelei and Zara. The little girl was now making small lights dance around, her fingers while her mother watched with a sad smile. What do you think we should do? Torres asked. I think we should help her find Admiral Stone. If anyone knows the truth about Jake Mitchell, it would be her. And if this is all a trap? Dr. Voss looked at Zara again. The child had created a small rainbow out of pure light and was showing it to her mother. Look at that child, Maya. She is half human and half elf. Do you know what that means? It means the two species can have children together. It means much more than that. It means hope. For 7 years we have been growing apart from the other species. Humans stay with humans. Elves avoid everyone. The other races keep to themselves. But that little girl proves we can be more than just allies. We can be family. Torres watched as Zara hugged her mother. The glow around them grew brighter for just a moment before fading away. Set up a meeting with Admiral Stone, Torres said. Finally, but keep security on alert. If this goes wrong, I want to be ready. Dr. Voss nodded and went back into the room. Lirelei looked up hopefully. We will help you find answers, Kira said, but you need to understand the risks. If Jake is really alive and held by the Dominion, then rescuing him will not be easy. I did not come here looking for easy, Lirelei replied. I came here to bring him home. Zara looked up at both women with her bright eyes. Are we going to find Daddy? Lirelei picked up her daughter and held her close. Yes, little star. We are going to find him. Admiral Greystone arrived on Kahlo Station 2 days later. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. Her uniform was crisp and clean, but her face showed the weight of command. She walked into the meeting room where Lirelei waited with Dr. Voss and Captain Torres. I remember you, Stone said as she sat down. You were at the peace talks on Kepler Station. You helped negotiate the first trade agreements between humans and elves. That was before everything went wrong, Lirelei replied. Before your people. Decided we were enemies. We never decided that. Your conclave withdrew from all contact after the incident. Lirelei's hands clenched into fists. The incident. You mean when your military tried to weaponize elven magic? Admiral Stone looked uncomfortable. That program was shut down. The people responsible were removed from command, but not before Jake volunteered for that final mission. Stone nodded. Slowly, Jake Mitchell was part of Operation Deep Search. We sent him and his team to investigate reports of hostile activity beyond our borders. They were supposed to be back in 6 months. That was 7 years ago, Dr. Voss pointed out. We lost contact with them after 4 months. Long-range scans found debris from their ship. We assumed they were all dead. Lirelay pulled out the message device again. This proves Jake is alive. Stone watched the holographic message with growing concern. When it ended, she was quiet for a long time. Phoenix Protocol was Jake's idea. It was a code he created in case. The team was captured. If he is using it, then he believes the situation is critical. What did his team find out there? Captain Torres asked. We are not sure. Their last transmission mentioned discovering something important about alien migration patterns. They thought they had found evidence of a large empire beyond the rim. The door opened and Commander Lisa Park entered the room. She was a younger woman with short black hair and the bearing of military intelligence. She carried a datapad and looked very serious. Admiral, I have the classified files you requested, Park said. She glanced at Lirelay with suspicion. We sure we should be sharing this information? Show her everything, Stone ordered. If we want her help, then she needs to know the truth. Park activated a holographic display that filled the room. Star maps appeared showing the known galaxy and the areas beyond Coalition space. Red markers indicated missing ships and lost colonies. For the past 8 years, we have been tracking disappearances in the Outer Rim, Park explained. Cargo ships that never reach their destinations. Research stations that stop responding. Entire colonies that vanish without a trace. How many? Lirelay asked. Over 200 ships and 40 settlements. At first we thought it was pirates or natural disasters. But the pattern is too organized. Someone is taking them. Dr. Voss studied the map. The disappearances form a line moving toward Coalition space. Exactly. Whatever is out there is getting closer to our territory. Admiral Stone pointed to a section of the map beyond the known systems. This is where Jake's team was headed. They were investigating reports of massive ship movements in this area. What kind of ships? Lirelay wanted to know. Commander Park switched the display to show grainy sensor readings. Large vessels of unknown design. Our long-range sensors can barely detect them, but they appear to be military in nature. The Dominion Empire, Lirelay said. It is real. We believe so. But we have no direct contact with them. No diplomatic channels. We do not even know what species they are. The meeting was interrupted when the door burst open. Zara ran in, followed by a security guard who looked embarrassed. I am sorry, Commander, the guard said. She got past 3 checkpoints. Somehow, Zara ran to her mother and climbed onto her lap. Mama, I was hungry, and the nice lady gave me cookies. Admiral Stone stared at the little girl. This is your daughter? This is Zara, Lirelay said proudly. Zara, this is Admiral Stone. She is going to help us find Daddy. The child looked at Stone with curious eyes. You are sad about something. Stone blinked in surprise. What did she say? She can sense emotions, Dr. Voss explained. It is one of her abilities. Zara reached out toward the Admiral. You lost someone too. Someone important. Stone's face went pale. She had lost her son in a border conflict 5 years ago. Nobody on the station knew about that. How does she? No? Elven empathy combined with human intuition, Lirelay said. She sees things others cannot. Commander Park watched Zara with scientific interest. Have you tested her abilities? She is not a laboratory experiment, Lirelay said sharply. She is my daughter. Of course. I meant no offense. But if she really is half human and half elf, then she might be the key to understanding how our species can work together. Admiral Stone composed herself and looked at the star map again. If Jake is alive and being held by the Dominion, then rescuing him will require a military operation. I cannot authorize that without more information. What kind of information? Lirelai asked. Proof that the Dominion exists. Intelligence about their capabilities. Most importantly, we need to know where they are holding prisoners. The door chimed, and Captain Torres allowed another visitor to enter. It was a tall reptilian alien with green scales and yellow eyes. He wore the clothes of a merchant, but moved like a predator. This is Tisara, Torres explained. He is a trader who deals in information from the Outer Rim. The Saurian bowed politely. I bring news that may interest you. There are rumors in the black markets about human prisoners being held in the far systems. What kind of rumors? Admiral Stone asked. Slavers speak of a great empire beyond the rim that pays well for skilled prisoners. Scientists, engineers, military officers. They prefer humans because your people adapt well to new situations. Lirelai leaned forward. Have you seen any of these prisoners? Not personally, but I've traded with those who have. They describe humans being held in research facilities, being forced to work on projects they do not understand. Commander Park made notes on her datapad. Can you provide coordinates for these facilities? For the right price, I can provide much more than coordinates. I can provide safe passage through Dominion space. Admiral Stone looked skeptical. Why would you help us? Tisara's eyes gleamed. Because the Dominion expansion threatens all free traders. If they continue growing, they will control all the profitable trade routes. That is bad for business. Dr. Voss had been studying Zara during the conversation. The little girl seemed to be listening to something nobody else could hear. What is it, child? The scaly man is telling the truth, Zara said simply. But he is also afraid of something. Tisara stared at the child in shock. How did she know? That? She has special gifts, Lirelai explained. What are you afraid of? The Saurian was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke in a low voice. The Dominion has agents everywhere. If they learn I have spoken to you, they will put a price on my head. But I have seen what they do to the colonies they capture. I have friends who lived on those worlds. They deserve justice. Admiral Stone made her decision. Commander Park, prepare a covert operations team. Dr. Voss, I want you to analyze everything we know about the Dominion. And you, she looked at Lirelai, I want you to tell me everything about Jake's mission and what he might have discovered. What? About Zara? Lirelai asked. Stone looked at the little girl, who was now making small lights dance around her fingers again. She stays with her mother. If her abilities are as remarkable as they seem, then we might need her help. As the meeting broke up, Tisara approached Lirelai privately. There is something else you should know, he said quietly. Word of your arrival has already reached certain ears. There are those who do not want you to find Jake Mitchell. What do you mean? Dark elves have been asking questions about you. They call you traitor for bearing a human child. Be careful. Not everyone wants your mission to succeed. Lirelai pulled Zara closer to her. The child looked up with worried eyes. Mama, are the bad people coming? I will not let anyone hurt you, little star, Lirelai promised. We are going to find Daddy, and then we will be safe. But even as she said the words, Lirelai knew their journey was just beginning. And somewhere in the darkness, between the stars, Jake, Mitchell waited for rescue, while forces gathered that would test the bonds between all the species of the galaxy. 3 days passed while Admiral Stone prepared her covert team. Lirelai spent the time in the station's guest quarters with Zara. The little girl seemed to enjoy exploring the different levels and meeting aliens she had never seen before. But Lirelai remained watchful. She knew danger could come at any moment. The danger came sooner than expected. Lirelai woke in the middle of the night to find a dark figure standing by Zara's bed. The intruder wore black clothes and moved without, making a sound. An assassin. Step away from my daughter? Lirelei whispered as she reached for her blaster. The figure turned, and Lirelei saw familiar features. Pointed ears, pale skin, silver hair. Another elf, but this one had eyes like ice and scars on her face. "Hello, sister," the dark elf said in the elven language. "I am Nyx Shadow Dancer. The Conclave sent me to clean up your mess. Zara is not a mess. She is my child. She is an abomination. Half-human blood pollutes the elven race. The Conclave has decided she cannot be allowed to live." Lirelei moved between Nyx and the sleeping child. "You will have to go through me first." "I was hoping you would say that." Nyx moved like lightning, but Lirelei was ready. The two elves fought silently in the dark room, using skills learned over centuries of training. Furniture broke. Walls cracked. But neither could gain the advantage. The fight woke Zara. The little girl sat up in bed and saw her mother, locked in combat with the stranger. Her eyes began to glow with soft light. "Stop fighting," Zara said in a voice that seemed older than her years. Both elves froze as if held by invisible hands. Nyx struggled against the force but could not move. "Let me go, child," Nyx demanded. "You want to hurt Mama? I will not let you." Dr. Voss and security guards arrived moments later after sensors detected the disturbance. They found Lirelei standing protectively over Zara, while Nyx remained frozen in place. "What happened here?" Dr. Voss asked. "An assassin sent by the Elven Conclave," Lirelei explained. "They want to kill Zara because she is half-human. Captain Torres studied the scene." "How is she holding the assassin like that?" "I do not know. This is something new." Zara looked tired from using her power. "Mama, I cannot hold her much longer." "It is okay, little star. Let her go." The moment Zara released her hold, Nyx collapsed to the floor. The dark elf looked at the child with something between fear and respect. "Impossible," Nyx whispered. "No one has that kind of power. Not even the Conclave elders." Security guards placed energy restraints on Nyx and prepared to take her to the detention center. But before they could move her, Admiral Stone arrived with Commander Park. "Wait," Stone ordered. "I want to question her first." They moved to an interrogation room, where Nyx sat chained to a metal chair. Her ice-cold eyes showed no fear or regret. "Why does the Elven Conclave want the child dead?" Stone asked. "Because she represents change, and the Conclave fears change above all else." "Change in what way?" Nyx laughed bitterly. "For thousands of years we have kept our bloodlines pure. We have avoided mixing with other species because we believed it would weaken us. But that child proves we were wrong." Lirelei held Zara close. "What do you mean?" "She has power none of us have ever seen. The ability to influence other minds, to project force without weapons. If more children like her are born, they will make the old ways obsolete." Dr. Voss made notes on her data pad. "Is that why the Conclave withdrew from Coalition space? They were afraid of interbreeding?" "Partly, but there is more. The Conclave has made a deal." "What kind of deal?" Admiral Stone demanded. Nyx was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke in a voice full of regret. "With the Dominion Empire. They promised to leave elven worlds alone if we helped them understand human psychology." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at Nyx in shock. "You are working with our enemies?" Commander Park said. "Not me personally, but the Conclave leadership believes humans are too dangerous to be allowed to spread through the galaxy. Your species makes alliances too easily. You inspire other races to rebel against the natural order." Lirelei felt sick to her stomach. "So you sold out the Coalition to protect your precious isolation. The Conclave elders believe it is the only way to preserve our way of life." Admiral Stone leaned forward. "What information did you give them?" "Everything. Human military tactics." Diplomatic strategies. Psychological profiles of your leaders. They know how humans think and react. And in return, they agreed to spare elven worlds when they invade Coalition space. Yes, but I no longer believe they will honor that agreement. The Dominion serves only itself. Dr. Voss looked at Zara, who had been listening quietly to the conversation. Is that why they want Jake Mitchell? Because he understands how to unite different species? Among other things, his research into cross-species cooperation was very valuable to them. Commander Park activated her communicator. Admiral, I am receiving reports of suspicious activity near the rim. Long-range sensors are picking up large ship formations moving toward Coalition space. Stone's face went grim. The invasion is beginning. She turned back to Nyx. If you really want to make up for your people's betrayal, then you will help us. Rescue Jake Mitchell and stop the Dominion. And why would I do that? Zara slipped away from her mother and walked over to the chained assassin. She placed her small hand on Nyx's arm. Because you know it is the right thing to do, the child said softly. Nyx stared into Zara's eyes, and for the first time her cold expression softened. You really are something special, are not you, little one? I am what happens when people choose. Love over fear, Zara replied with wisdom beyond her years. The dark elf was quiet for a moment. Then she looked at Admiral Stone. Free me and I will help you find Jake Mitchell. But understand this. Once the Conclave learns of my betrayal, they will send others to finish what I could not. We will protect you, Stone promised. You cannot protect anyone if a Dominion invasion succeeds. They have been planning this for years. They know exactly how to defeat each Coalition species. Then we need Jake's intelligence more than ever, Lirelei said. He spent months studying their operations. He might know their weaknesses. An hour later, they gathered in the station's command center, where Tessara waited with new information. The Saurian trader had been busy contacting his network of smugglers and information brokers. I have found him, Tessara announced. Jake. Mitchell is being held on a research facility called Station Omega in the Veil Nebula. It is heavily guarded, but there are ways to reach it. What kind of research are they doing there? Dr. Voss asked. They are studying captured Coalition personnel to understand how different species can be controlled or eliminated. Your Jake Mitchell has been especially useful to them because he knows so much about interspecies relations. Nyx looked at the star charts Tessara had provided. The facility is protected by a Dominion battle fleet. Any rescue attempt will be suicide. Not if we are smart about it, Admiral Stone said. Commander Park, begin preparations for a stealth mission. Dr. Voss, I want you and the child to stay here where it is safe. No, Lirelei said firmly. Zara and I are coming with you. It is too dangerous. Jake is her father. She has the right to help rescue him, and you have seen what she can do. Her abilities might be exactly what we need. Admiral Stone looked at the little girl, who was studying the star charts with intense concentration. What do you think, Zara? Do you want to help us find your daddy? Yes, Zara said without hesitation. Daddy needs us. I can feel him calling. Feel him calling? Dr. Voss asked. In my dreams. He is scared, but he is not giving up hope. He knows. We are coming. NYX shook her head in amazement. A telepathic link across interstellar distances. The child's power continues to grow. Then it is settled, Admiral Stone decided. We leave for the Veil Nebula tomorrow. May the stars help us all. As the meeting ended, Lirelei held Zara close and looked out at the stars beyond the stations. Windows. Somewhere out there, Jake waited for rescue. But between them lay the most dangerous enemy the galaxy had ever faced. Are you scared, Mama? Zara asked. A little. But I am also hopeful. We are going to bring Daddy home. And then we will. Be a real family? We already are a real family, little star. We just need to be together to make it complete. The ship Phoenix cut through hyperspace toward the Veil Nebula. Admiral Stone had chosen her best stealth vessel for the mission. The crew included Lyrelay and Zara, Commander Park, Dr. Voss, Nix, and 20 elite Marines. Tessara guided them through routes known only to smugglers and pirates. Dropping out of hyperspace in 30 seconds, announced the pilot. The Phoenix emerged into normal space at the edge of the nebula. Before them stretched a vast cloud of gas and dust that glowed with strange colors. Hidden somewhere inside was Station Omega and the answers they desperately needed. Sensors are picking up multiple contacts, reported the weapons officer. Looks like a patrol fleet. Admiral Stone studied the tactical display. 6 Dominion cruisers in standard formation. They have not detected us yet. The nebula will hide our approach, Tessara explained. But it will also blind our sensors. We will be flying by instinct. Dr. Voss monitored her equipment as they entered the nebula. The strange energies played havoc with their instruments. I am reading some unusual particles in this gas cloud, almost like they are artificially created. The Dominion uses the nebula as a natural defense, Nix said. Ships that enter without the proper navigation codes become lost forever. Zara had been quiet during the journey, but now she spoke up. I can feel Daddy. He is very close. How close? Lyrelay asked. 2 hours. At this speed? But there are many other minds near him. Scared minds. Hurt minds. Commander Park checked her intelligence reports. Station Omega is supposed to hold over 300 prisoners from different species. If we can free them all, it would be a major blow to Dominion research. First, we need to get past their defenses. Admiral Stone pointed out. The Phoenix moved deeper into the nebula, using passive sensors only. The crew worked in whispers, afraid that even sound might give them away. Outside the viewport's strange lights danced in the gas clouds like alien spirits. Contact ahead, the pilot reported quietly. It is massive. Through the swirling gases they saw Station Omega. The facility was built into a large asteroid and surrounded by defensive platforms. Ships moved in and out of docking bays like insects around a hive. Scanning for life signs, Dr. Voss announced. I am reading over 400 biological signatures. Most are concentrated in the lower levels. Prison blocks, Nix confirmed. The research labs will be in the center of the station. Admiral Stone gathered the team for final briefings. We go in fast and quiet. Secure the prisoners. Find Jake Mitchell. Get out before the Dominion fleet can respond. What about the research data? Commander Park asked. Grab whatever you can, but the people come first. They launched in 2 assault shuttles. Lyrelay insisted on leading the team that would search for Jake, while Stone commanded the prison rescue operation. Zara stayed close to her mother, despite the danger. Are you sure about bringing her? Nix asked as they approached the station. She is our best hope of finding Jake quickly, Lyrelay replied. Her connection to him is stronger than any scanner. The shuttles attached to the station's hull like parasites. The Marines used fusion cutters to burn through the outer walls. Alarms began to sound as they entered the facility. So much for stealth, Commander Park muttered. They split into 2 groups. Admiral Stone led her team toward the prison levels, while Lyrelay followed Zara's guidance toward the research section. The station's corridors were filled with smoke and emergency lighting. Dominion guards appeared, armed with energy weapons. They were insectoid creatures with 4 arms and compound eyes. Their armor made them look like mechanical beetles. Humans, one of them hissed. Alert Supreme Commander Vexhai. The subjects are attempting escape. The battle was fierce but brief. Human Marines were better trained, and their weapons more advanced. But Lyrelay knew they did not have much time before reinforcements arrived. This way, Mama. Zara pointed down a corridor that led deeper into the station. They fought their way through several checkpoints. Nyx proved to be a valuable ally using her assassin skills to take out guards silently. Dr. Voss scanned every room they passed, looking for useful intelligence. "I am reading human life signs just ahead," Voss reported. They entered a large laboratory filled with strange equipment. In the center of the room stood a series of cells containing prisoners from different species. And in the largest cell they found Jake Mitchell. He looked older and thinner than in his holographic message. His brown hair had gray streaks, and his face showed the strain of captivity. But his eyes were still alert and determined. "Lirelei?" Jake whispered as if he could not believe what he was seeing. "Hello, Jake," she replied with tears in her eyes. "We have come to take you home." Zara pressed against the energy barrier that held her father. "Daddy, I found you." Jake stared at the little girl in amazement. "Is she your daughter, Zara?" "She is beautiful," Jake said softly. "She looks like both of us." Dr. Voss worked quickly to disable the cell controls. "The power systems are more complex than I expected. I need more time." "We do not have time," Nyx warned. "I can hear reinforcements coming." A new voice spoke from the laboratory entrance. "You will not be leaving this station." They turned to see a tall insectoid creature wearing elaborate armor and carrying advanced weapons. Supreme Commander Vex High had arrived with a squad of elite guards. "So good of you to visit," Vex High continued in perfect human language. "We have learned so much from studying your species, and now we have even more subjects to examine. Let the prisoners go, Admiral." Stone's voice came over the comm system. "We have taken control of your prison levels and freed over 200 captives. Impressive, but ultimately pointless. This facility is expendable. The knowledge we have gained here will be used to crush your coalition." Jake spoke from his cell. "You are making a mistake, Vex High. Humans are not as predictable as you think. On the contrary, Mitchell, we understand humans perfectly now. Your need to help others, your inability to abandon allies, your emotional attachments, all weaknesses we can exploit." Zara stepped forward, despite her mother's attempts to hold her back. "You do not understand anything." The Dominion commander looked at the small child with interest. "Ah, yes, the hybrid offspring. Our scientists will find her most fascinating." "I am not afraid of you," Zara said. Her eyes began to glow with inner light. "Child, you should be terrified. I have destroyed entire worlds. You destroy things because you are empty inside. You have no friends, no family, no one who cares if you live or die." Vex High raised his weapon. "Enough of this foolishness." But before he could fire, Zara reached out with her mind. The Dominion guards suddenly turned their weapons on each other. Vex High found himself unable to move as invisible force held him in place. "How is this possible?" the commander demanded. "She can influence any mind," Dr. Voss explained as she finally disabled Jake's cell. "Your species may be immune to human psychology, but you are not immune to her power." Jake stepped out of his cell and embraced his family. For a moment, nothing else mattered except being together again. "We need to go," Nyx urged. "The station's self-destruct has been activated." Dr. Voss grabbed as many data crystals as she could. "Carrie, this research will help us understand Dominion weaknesses." They fought their way back to the shuttles while the station shook around them. Jake carried Zara when she became tired from using her abilities. Lirelei stayed close to both of them, unwilling to let either out of her sight. "The prison rescue is complete," Admiral Stone reported over the comm. "All survivors are aboard the Phoenix, including Dr. Elena Rodriguez," Commander Park added. "She has been helping other prisoners survive for the past 3 years." As their shuttle docked with the Phoenix, explosions lit up the station behind them. They had escaped, but just barely got in the medical bay. Dr. Rodriguez examined Jake, while his family stayed nearby. Elena was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and steady hands. "You are malnourished and exhausted, but otherwise healthy," she told Jake. "A few weeks of good food and rest should restore your strength." "What about the other prisoners?" Jake asked. "Most are in similar condition. The Dominion kept you alive because you were useful, but they did not waste resources on comfort." "Admiral." Stone entered the medical bay with troubling news. "Long-range sensors are picking up a massive fleet movement. The main Dominion invasion force is heading for Coalition space." "How long do we have?" Jake wanted to know. 2 weeks at most before they reach our outer colonies." Jake looked at his daughter, who was sleeping peacefully in her mother's arms. "Then we better get back quickly. I have information that might help stop them." "What kind of information?" "The location of their command ship, and the identity of the real power behind the Dominion Empire." As the Phoenix jumped to hyperspace, carrying its precious cargo of rescued prisoners, Jake began to tell them what he had learned during 3 years of captivity. The truth was more disturbing than any of them had imagined. The Dominion was not just another conquering empire. It was the tool of something far older and more dangerous. Something that had been watching the galaxy for millions of years, waiting for the right moment to emerge from the shadows. And that moment had finally come. The Phoenix arrived at Coalition headquarters just as the first reports of Dominion attacks reached the command center. 3 outer colonies had gone silent in the past 6 hours. Long-range scanners showed massive fleets moving through space. Like a dark tide, Jake sat in the briefing room, surrounded by Coalition leaders from a dozen different species. His family stayed close as he revealed everything he had learned during his captivity. The Dominion Empire is controlled by an ancient artificial intelligence called the Collective Voice, Jake explained. It has been dormant for millions of years, but something woke it up recently. "What woke it up?" asked General Marcus Webb, the Coalition's senior military commander. U.S., specifically the rapid expansion of interspecies cooperation. The Collective Voice sees unity between different races as a threat to galactic stability. Dr. Voss studied the data crystals they had, stolen from Station Omega. According to this research, the AI believes that species mixing leads to chaos and war. It wants to return the galaxy to isolated single-species territories. That is why it fears humans most of all, Dr. Rodriguez added. Your species has a unique ability to form alliances across racial boundaries. You inspire others to work together. Admiral. Stone looked at the tactical displays showing Dominion fleet movements. If this AI controls the Dominion forces, then conventional warfare will not stop it. We need to find its central processing core. I know where it is, Jake said. The Collective Voice operates from a massive ship called the Genesis. It hides in the void between galaxies, but it sends out control signals to coordinate Dominion operations. Zara had been playing quietly with holographic toys, but now she looked up with serious eyes. The voice is trying to talk to me. Everyone in the room went silent. Lirelei knelt beside her daughter. What do you mean, little star? It keeps whispering in my head, telling me that Mama and Daddy are wrong to be together, that I should not exist. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The AI is trying to influence her directly. Can you block it out? Dr. Voss asked gently. I try, but it is very strong. It shows me pictures of what will happen if species keep mixing. Wars and destruction and sadness. Nix moved closer to the child. Her assassin training had taught her to recognize mental attacks. The Collective Voice is using psychological warfare. It wants to break her spirit. Why target Zara specifically? General Webb wanted to know. Because she represents everything. It fears, Jake replied. A successful hybrid who proves that different species can create something better together than apart. Commander Park activated a communication link to coalition fleets throughout the sector. All ships report heavy fighting at the border colonies. Dominion forces are using weapons we have never seen before. They have been preparing for this invasion for years, Dr. Rodriguez said. Every prisoner they captured taught them something new about coalition weaknesses. Admiral Stone made a difficult decision. We cannot win a defensive war against an enemy that knows all our tactics. We need to take the fight directly to this collective voice. The Genesis is protected by the entire Dominion fleet, Jake warned. It would be a suicide mission. Not if we had help from inside, Nix suggested. There are resistance movements on worlds the Dominion has conquered. Species that were forced to serve, but never stopped fighting. Zara suddenly stood up with her, eyes glowing brightly. I can hear them. All the people who are trapped and scared. They want to be free. Who child? Lirelei asked with concern. The prisoners on Dominion ships. The slaves in their factories. The soldiers who were forced to fight. They are all calling for help. Dr. Voss scanned Zara with her medical equipment. Her telepathic abilities are expanding rapidly. She is somehow connecting with minds across interstellar distances. That should be impossible, General Webb said. Everything about her is impossible, Jake replied with pride. But impossible things happen when love conquers fear. The briefing was interrupted when alerts began sounding throughout the command center. The main display showed coalition territory under massive attack. Dozens of worlds were reporting Dominion landings. They are moving faster than we expected, Admiral Stone observed. At this rate, they will reach Earth and the other core worlds within days. Jake stood up with determination. Then we end this now. Assemble the fastest ships you have. We are going after the Genesis. With what fleet? General Webb asked. Most of our forces are tied up defending the colonies. We do not need a fleet, Zara said in a voice that seemed older than her years. We need friends. She walked to the communication console and placed her small hands on the controls. Immediately, every screen in the room lit up with incoming messages from across the galaxy. I am Zara Mitchell, she said, and her voice somehow reached every coalition world at once. My mama is an elf, and my daddy is human, and I need your help. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Ships launched from 100 different worlds. Not just coalition vessels, but independent traders, exploration ships, even converted civilian craft. They came because a child had asked them to come. This is Captain Sarah Kim of the merchant vessel Luna's Dream, came one transmission. We are not fighters, but we will stand with you. Explorer Ship Horizon reporting for duty, said another voice. Our crew includes 6 different species, and we all agree the Dominion must be stopped. Within hours, a ragtag fleet of thousands of ships was gathering at the rendezvous point. It was the largest multi-species armada in galactic history. Admiral Stone looked at the massive fleet with amazement. How did she do that? She gave them hope, Jake replied. Something the collective voice can never understand. They transferred to the command ship Unity for the final assault. The vessel's bridge was designed to accommodate multiple species working together. Jake took the science station, while Lirelei served as tactical advisor. Zara sat in a special chair surrounded by monitoring equipment. Jumping to hyperspace, announced the navigation officer. The fleet emerged near the galactic rim where space was cold and empty. But their sensors quickly located the target. The Genesis was impossibly huge, larger than some moons. It drifted in the void like a metal mountain studded with weapons and defensive systems. All ships, this is Admiral Stone, came the broadcast. Remember, we are not here to destroy the Genesis. We need to disable it and capture the collective voice intact. The Dominion fleet moved to intercept them. Thousands of enemy ships formed. battle lines protecting their command vessel. The space between the fleets filled with weapons fire and explosions. But something unexpected happened during the battle. Dominion ships began to turn on each other. Entire squadrons switched sides and joined the coalition attack. The resistance movements are rebelling, Dr. Rodriguez reported from the communication station. Zara's broadcast reached them too. The little girl sat with her eyes closed and her face peaceful despite the chaos around them. They were waiting for someone to show them it was possible to be different. The Unity broke through the Dominion lines and approached the Genesis. A massive ship's defenses opened fire, but friendly vessels threw themselves in the way to protect the command ship. Docking bay located, the pilot announced, taking us in. They landed inside the Genesis and found themselves in a cathedral-sized chamber filled with strange technology. At the center stood a pillar of crystalline material that pulsed with inner light. The collective voice, Jake said quietly, got as they approached the pillar. A holographic figure appeared. It looked like a tall humanoid made of stars and shadow. "So the child comes to face me at last," the collective voice said in a voice like distant thunder. "Do you truly believe your mixed heritage makes you superior?" "I believe love is stronger than fear," Zara replied without hesitation. "Love is chaos. Love creates conflict when species that should remain separate try to merge. I have watched galaxies burn because beings like you inspired others to reach beyond their natural boundaries. And I have seen what happens when people work together." The child said, "Beautiful things, amazing things, things that could never exist if everyone stayed alone." The AI's hologram flickered with anger. "You are a mistake that should never have been born." "But I was born," Zara said with a smile, "and there will be others like me. Because no matter how hard you try, you cannot stop people from caring about each other." She reached out and touched the crystal pillar. The moment her hand made contact, the entire ship shuddered. The collective voice screamed as its carefully ordered thoughts were flooded with emotions it had tried to eliminate from the galaxy. "What are you doing?" the AI demanded. "Showing you what you have been missing," Zara replied. "All the joy and wonder that comes from being different together instead of the same apart." The crystal began to change color as the collective voice experienced concepts it had not felt in millions of years. Love, hope, friendship, family. The bonds that connected all living beings despite their differences. "This is impossible," the AI whispered. "Order cannot come from chaos. Order comes from choice," Jake said as he and Lirale stood beside their daughter. "When people choose to work together instead of fighting each other." The transformation spread throughout the Genesis and then to every Dominion ship in the fleet. Soldiers who had been controlled by fear suddenly remembered what it felt like to think for themselves. Commanders who had followed O